Hi, everybody. I'm Haley.
And I'm Kaylee.
And today we're reviewing Avatar, The Way of Water.
Ooh, little oceanic vibes. There we go.
Or the breaths. Although I didn't get that because you can't breathe underwater, so your breath...
You still dying either way, but they're not human. They're avatars. Oh, not even avatars. They're Na'vi.
They're half. Okay?
They're half breeds.
They're bi-special.
Just like us. But yes, I guess I will say it because it was a big impact in my life. Literally, I got hit by a car.
I thought you were going to say Avatar. I mean, it wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good.
It wasn't at all.
A bigger impact in my life was me getting hit by a car.
Loose. She was loose. Let's be very clear. I thought when she first told me, she meant she was hit by a car in her car, only to find out she was hit by a car with her body.
Yes.
So, continue.
Definitely don't recommend that. But I was jogging. You know, my friend, she finished a half marathon and I was super inspired. I was like, Tristan, we're not doing that, but we could do a 5K. So we were like, doing our run or whatever. And usually we run in the park, but it was kind of rainy and muddy. So we're like, let's do it on the streets, on the sidewalks, not the real streets, the sidewalks. But we were crossing the street and this guy had stopped at a stop sign and then I guess didn't see us and hit me and my boyfriend on his birthday. So it was great. But yeah, definitely don't recommend. I'm fine. We're both fine. We can laugh about it now. I laughed at it at the time too. I was like, damn, not us getting hit on his birthday.
Not his birthday, the anniversary of you getting hit by a car.
Right. Now that's what it is. But yes, just be careful because obviously people are just not paying attention.
No.
And like I talked to like my insurance and she's like, that's crazy because I almost got hit by a car too. And I was like, see,
oh my gosh,
just nobody's paying attention
and
at all.
Pay attention when you're driving. Or
just like don't do any like New Year's resolutions outside. If you're going to start running or like pick up anything healthy, do it inside.
Just stay inside.
But another thing that had a huge impact on me was Avatar.
Please.
Can't say it with a straight face, but So I guess I'll go ahead and get into the synopsis. Avatar, The Way of Water follows up on the adventures of Jake Sully and Pandora. It's been 14 years since the first movie. I'm thinking that's what I looked up online. Somebody said like timeline wise, it might have been 14 years. I don't really know.
Is that how old the eldest kid is? We'll get into that.
I don't know. Right. Okay. So we'll just say that's how many. Sure. It's been 14 years since the first movie and life has been good for Jake and Neytiri. They are living their best lives in the jungle with their 4 kids. But then those damn humans decide to come back and ruin things once again. Not willing to give up their home, the Na'vi people fight back with Jake Sully at the forefront. I can't talk or read. The Na'vi people fight back with Jake Sully at the forefront. Jake's previous military expertise makes him a big problem for the human invaders. The Jake Sully issue leaves the humans no choice but to bring out the big guns, his old nemesis, Colonel Quaritch, I guess. This time, he's younger, bluer, and meaner. Wanting to protect the family and the people, the Sully clan flee the jungle and move to the islands, seeking sanctuary. As the Sullys learn the way of water, the Colonel and his team begin the hunt. The Sullys must decide if sticking together is their greatest strength or their greatest weakness.
Beautiful. Avatar, The Way of Water, released in 2022. Sci-fi action fantasy. It was 3 hours and 12 minutes.
It's long.
PG-13. Director James Cameron, who also directed the Titanic, which is interesting to know because if you didn't know or if you did know, Kate Winslet was in this movie.
As who?
She was Ronal. She was the
wife of the other
wife of the other clan, like the water people. I had no idea. I literally was like, I didn't know she was in there. So I guess her and James Cameron are back.
But he also did the first movie too.
Yeah, and of course the first movie, but also Titanic, which I
didn't
probably
know that
should have known. Didn't know. Anyway,
not caught up with James.
Listen, I don't know that much. Okay. So the ratings, IMDb gave this an 8.2 out of 10, which is extremely high. I say wait it out.
Oh yeah,
the movie hasn't even been out for a full weekend.
Yeah, it's Saturday. The movie came out yesterday, so it's probably gonna get lower Or higher. Hey, let me not be pessimistic.
I don't know. Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it a 78%, which is down 2% from when I looked at it on either Friday or Thursday.
Oh, wow.
So that one actually decreased a little bit. The audience score stayed a little consistent. It's 94%. So it looks like the majority of the people like this movie. Critics are a little but it looked like what my grievances are with this movie are the same as what a lot of people are saying if they do have them. So, but anyway, let's get into the cast. Once again, my apologies. Sam Worthington plays Jake. Zoe Saldana.
Name.
Yes, Jake. Thank God. Zoe Saldana plays Natiri. Sorry, I'm angry.
I didn't know what that was.
Sojourner Weaver plays Kitty. I thought it was Kitty,
I thought they were saying Kitty too.
but it's Kiri. Kitty.
I kind of
Which
heard
makes
it
more
at the end. I was like, oh, they were saying Kiri.
I thought they're like Kitty, but
Yeah.
it's Kitty. Kitty. Anyway, but which makes sense because the whole time I was like, why does she sound like a grown ass woman?
That's because she
This
is
is
a
because
grown-ass
why?
woman.
Okay, which confirms one of our theories.
Yeah.
But we'll okay. Kate Winslet plays Ronald. Cliff Curtis is Tonawari. Eddie Falco plays General Ardmore. Jamie Flatters is Nitium. Britton Dalton is Loak. Trinity Lowe Bliss is Took. Jack Champion is Spider. Bailey Bass is Tessiera. Philip Gilho plays Anong. And Dwayne Evans Jr. is Rottukso. So sorry. Okay, so a little bit of, I guess, not fun facts, but just stuff about the movie. So they actually started filming this in 2017 and continued until 2020, so about 3 years. And they said that they actually filmed both movies, like this one and the sequel, just so you know.
So is there supposed to be 4 movies in total or only 3 movies in total?
4.
Okay.
So there's 2 more.
Okay.
There'll be 4 movies, I think.
I'll put it up on the screen.
We'll figure it out. But now you're having me confused. I thought I knew, but I was like, maybe I don't know. And this is also from ndtv.com. It's Avatar Way of the Water, 5 facts on James Cameron film. That's the article. So this is a direct quote because it was just too long for me to try to reword in my own words. Quote. Cameron's original 2009 Avatar is at the top of the highest grossing movies list at $2.9 billion. Disney's Avengers. So yeah, sorry, this is just a couple like highest grossing movies. Disney's Avengers Endgame is in second with 2.7 billion, while Cameron's Titanic remains third with 2.1 billion.
Dang.
So James Cameron, he has 2 out of the top 3 highest grossing movies
Of all time.
He just knows. He's got it.
That's wild.
We'll see if this one, I don't think this one's going to do that numbers like
No,
that.
probably
In my
not.
opinion, I don't know.
It's too late. James, you took too damn long.
Yes. I did want to talk a little bit about, not controversy, but there is a section of people or some people who are unhappy with kind of this movie and James Cameron in general. And I first was introduced to this like conversation on Twitter, of course. But they were basically saying that they don't really like how James Cameron's views are on kind of indigenous people and things like that. So the article in question that they were speaking of is from The Guardian. It's Avatar director James Cameron joins Amazon tribe's fight to halt giant dam. So kind of background story. There is a Brazilian tribe called Xingu, and they're fighting against the Belo Monte hydroelectric dam project. So it's this dam that they're going to put in the rainforest. I think they said it's going to cost around like $7 billion. But of course, the native people to the Amazon are pushing against this, as well as some other things that they're doing in the Amazon rainforest. Obviously, they've been cutting down a ton of trees. I think I saw a documentary with horrifying statistics of how much of the Amazon rainforest has been destroyed.
It's scary.
It is scary, especially because the rainforest gives like the earth a huge percentage of its oxygen. We just don't know how to. We just can't.
We just
stop.
don't care. We said,
I don't get it. It's wild. But yeah, so James Cameron came to Brazil because he said that this inspired him to make the Avatar movies kind of in the first place. He also plans to shoot a documentary about the situation. So the reason why people are upset, well, some of the people from these tribes, or this tribe and I guess other tribes, some of them think of him positively, some are negative. They don't want necessarily, quote, outsiders who don't really know anything about the Amazon to come in. I think one person said that, you know, they wouldn't go try to make a movie because that's not their thing. So they think he should stay out of it. But then the other argument is, you know, the Amazon rainforest impacts everyone around the world. So it's kind of that thing. But I think, you know, when rich people, to be honest, do try to do things, it can come across as not genuine. So I don't know if that's maybe what they're thinking about. And I don't know James Cameron at all. But some people are glad that he's helping them and bringing light to a situation. But I think what really irritated people are his insensitive comments about just kind of tribes in general. He used another tribe kind of as an example. They're called the Lakota. and the Lakota people, and they are from America. So he was making comments about them. Let me see if I can actually find the like quote.
Exact quote.
Yeah, because that's when people were like, oh wow, like he really said all that. He said, I felt like I was 130 years back in time watching what the Lakota Sioux might have been saying at a point when they were being pushed and they were being killed and they were being asked to displace and they were being given some form of compensation, he said. This was a driving force for me in the writing of Avatar. I couldn't help but think that if they, the Lakota Sioux people, had a time window that they could see the future and they could see their kids committing suicide at the highest rates in the nation because they were hopeless and they were a dead-end society, which is what is happening now, they would have fought a lot harder. So you can see why people are just irritated at the situation. Yeah. They also accused him of having a white savior complex, which they think portrays in his movies, which I could kind of see.
Oh, of course.
So kind of, now he's coming in to help them fight, we must come in and help them, blah, blah, blah. Just that mindset. So there was a little bit of that. I don't think that was like a huge controversy, but I do think some people are kind of siding him a little bit about just like the film in general and then his motives for helping out the Brazilian tribe. So yeah. Well, yeah. So I guess we can get into that. The movie.
Yes. Overall thoughts. Haley, what did you think about this movie?
I, unlike the audience from Rotten Tomatoes, think that this movie was not good at all. I was not impressed. I would not see this movie again. I'm very disappointed. And I think I had this movie held to higher standards because they had a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of money to be able to produce this movie. And I think I was just let down. I will say I don't think the storyline of the first movie was that strong anyway. I think the hype around the first movie really was just with the effects and all that stuff because it looked great. So maybe I was just thinking it would be too good of a movie. You know what I mean? Maybe I over romanticized the first one. And because now that I think about it, a lot of people were kind of like, well, the first movie wasn't like the storyline was okay. It was
Did
more
you rewatch it before?
I saw a couple clips just to kind of refresh, but I was like, for the most part, I mean, the storyline was pretty basic, if you will. Yeah. I think what really brought it forward was just like the innovative graphics, CGI, all that kind of stuff. So maybe my expectations were a little bit too high, but I figured since they had a lot of years, and of course CGI has only gotten better since then, that the movie itself would be a little bit better. However, I will say it was gorgeous. I mean, it looked really great. So I'm not going to say that. They went off with the graphics. Do I think these graphics are now set apart from other movies? I don't. So I don't think the graphics of this movie necessarily carried it like it did originally. I think that I've seen really great graphics from Marvel, DC, just other movies. Yeah. So it's all kind of the same to me now a little bit. And it does feel like I'm watching a little bit of a video game. So I don't know where I stand on CGI right now because I get it. To some extent, you need CGI for some of the fantasy things. But on the other hand, I do think we've lost kind of like the art of
practical effects
and just movie makeup. What is it? FX effects. Like even when we watched The Thing, the original The Thing, like they had really good effects. Like I appreciate the artwork of somebody trying to make everything as real as possible. I think, is it Christopher Nolan? Is it him? He's making a new movie and the joke is he has like a real nuclear bomb that he constructed for his latest film. Is it Christopher Nolan? Yeah. Sorry, hold on.
Oh, I've seen that preview for it. And it's just like a countdown kind of thing.
Kind of. Yeah. I don't really know exactly what it's about. It's called Oppenheimer, but I think Christopher Nolan is kind of known for trying to use the least amount of CGI. Like I also know they brought up in Interstellar, the scene where the main character and his daughter are going through the cornfield. That's a real cornfield. Like they didn't do CGI. So you never seen Interstellar?
No.
Are you serious? That's a great movie.
Oh, my bad.
Oh my God. Okay, you're seeing Interstellar. But anyway, so I do kind of miss that. I know it's a lot of extra time. I don't know what goes into that, so I don't want to be like, oh, y'all should just do this and that. But I don't know. I feel like, especially like when you have characters who kind of have the look you're going for, like Zoe Saldana, I think she looked really great. Like her features do very well with the design of the Na'vi people. So I don't know. I'm like, you don't have to do too much manipulating if you find people who do completely match the character, just looks and I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. But overall, your thoughts?
Overall, I didn't mind this movie. I rewatched Avatar because I also had a similar feeling. I was like, for me, what I remember why everybody really enjoyed Avatar was because of how it looked. And I remember when you go into a Best Buy, what movie was on all the time on all the TVs?
Oh yeah,
it was always
sell
Avatar.
you that HD.
Yep. They're like, look at how amazing these graphics are. So that's what I remember from Avatar. I didn't really remember the storyline, and that's because it's very basic. Like, it's really just a colonization story about humans fucking shit up once again for indigenous folks. It's nothing we haven't seen before.
New. It's basically, it was Pocahontas.
It was Pocahontas.
It was Pocahontas.
It was Disney's Pocahontas, because that's not really what happened with Pocahontas.
Of course, yes. The fictional story of Pocahontas that was created by Disney, not the actual Pocahontas.
So that's the first one. And it was a basic story. The graphics don't really hold up as well as they did when I was, 13.
Isn't that crazy?
I was expecting a little bit more. But with this movie, we also watched it in 3D, and I think that helped. I like the 3D. I don't think the 3D hurt it, in my opinion. I was afraid of getting a headache, but I feel like I couldn't really focus on what something specifically looked like too much because of the 3D. Did you feel that way?
No, yes. The 3D glasses we had, I felt like had a slight movement to them. Like when I put them on, I was like, oh, it's kind of, there's something going on here. Like it wasn't as smooth as I had hoped for, but I don't know if that was the movie.
But I
or
couldn't
just
also focus on it. So I couldn't tell you if it looked bad.
I know what you mean. It was a little blurry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel like if you don't want to know if it looks bad or not, just put on some 3D glasses.
It's like you're in the movie.
But overall, I think if you like Avatar, then you will like this movie. That's basically it. Because if you are a fan of what these people look like and what they be going through, that's basically what you're getting
like the
again.
first one, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like there's a lot of similarities and parallels from the first movie into this movie that we can get into more specifically. But if you liked Avatar, you will probably like Avatar 2 because it's the same shit.
Which brings me to my next point. It's the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was giving me very much Star Wars vibes. Did you see the Star Wars anything, the new ones at all? So there is
The Force Awakens. I saw that one.
Which one's that one?
The first one that they came out with.
Yeah. So a big disappointment with, I think, Star Wars from a lot of fans, and for me, I'm not even a super fan, but it just irritated me, is the whole revival of the old stories and just in a kind of slightly new way, but not in a good way, just another way. Like I remember with Star Wars, the OG versions of the older storyline was the Death Star, Darth Vader, Palpatine, blah blah hooty hoo,
right?
Whatever. So then in this new series, everybody's excited because Disney has it. There's more money, better graphics, blah blah blah, and they do the same thing. It's the Death Star, and then to round it off, spoiler, Palpatine didn't die. He's just somehow back. And we have to just put up with that. And to me, it ruined the story because if Darth Vader actually killed Palpatine on behalf of his son Luke, and that was kind of his character arc of he turns good or does something good at the end for his son, and then Palpatine dies, blah 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 blah, and then of course, but now Darth Vader's death is rendered useless because Palpatine just somehow survived a space blast. And I'm just rolling my eyes like, oh my god, and I feel like that's what this movie was. Yeah. You have a character who should have died because his death was meaningful in the previous
Colonel,
movie.
Yes,
the Colonel. He was killed by
Neytiri.
And that kind of wrapped it up. She got him, he died. Of course, they revive him for no reason other than to just revive him. There was not like an extra depth to his character. It was just he's back now. Then of course they have his son. Now we're bringing back another character who is the familial lineage to him that I didn't think we needed. We had no mention, no hints of this little boy. No. And I get it. It was 13 years ago. You might make switches or you're trying to, but it just has to make sense. I just feel like it was force after force. We have we
have the Avatar giving birth, one that's not used anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Giving birth to another one.
Sojourner, right? Weaver's character. What was her character's name in the movie?
I feel like it's Grace or something like that. Right there. Yeah. Grace,
Dr. Grace. Then Grace, because in the original movie, she passed away and the tree decided not to renew her life. The tree said no, we are going to take her into the soil. She's going to be with the ancestors now. So to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, they took her. She's in the ground, she kind of formed into the tree.
So basically she got shot and they were trying to save her by making her into her avatar.
Yes.
So they were trying to do that transfer, but she wasn't strong enough and her human body died, and I assumed that the avatar body would have passed away as well, but for whatever reason they had it in some kind of jar this whole time, and she was pregnant with who? We don't know.
Like, who's the dad? I just was like, oh my god.
And but it seems more like a clone than like an actual daughter.
That's why I think they're getting at. But what bothered me is if the character died, we don't need to revive her
or him, Colonel either. Like, we don't need them again.
Especially if the tree decided that Grace, she's done, like, that was her story, then that's her story. That's what the tree decided. And that's, sorry.
She's very heated.
And that's another thing that irritates me about the white savior thing is all the characters who are special are the human characters. There aren't any of the actual native people who have their own destiny to fight for their people.
Yeah.
Like even Neytiri is not even really in the movie. She's arguably the best.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Zoe Saldana is carrying this film and she's barely in it. So it just seems like, oh no, Dr. Grace didn't die. The tree decided that she's now the chosen one. So now we have a human who's the chosen one. Like, God forbid the tree has decided there's another person in that's already a native to this world could be the spiritual chosen one.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
that-
because that's Jake Sully's whole line or storyline in the first one is that
Yes.
all the seeds of life come to him, and like he's the one who ends up protecting the people
And now he's
saving
the
them.
chief.
Yeah.
I would never make that man chief. I'm so sorry. You're not, like, not to be
He's
like,
got demon blood.
not to be excluding, but like you're not one of our people.
No.
You can be high rank. Like, we'll put you as a
Some kind of
officer or
commander,
something, but
yeah,
it's this
in
whole
chief, the hand of the king.
now the destiny of these people it's not with these people.
No, yeah.
It's now with these they're not even these aliens. They have a fake avatar. So I think that's what also irritated me about Grace surviving. I'm like, let her die.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be anything chosen. She's not one of these people. She's not a native to this world. That's not her thing. There's so many other people in this tribe who could probably be gifted one of the abilities, like Kitty's character, to, you know, connect with the ancestors. Let's be honest, they should not be able to connect with the ancestors in the same way as the people should.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it just irritated me that now she essentially they pull this out their ass. Basically, she's pregnant. Oh my God, we have the baby now. This baby with the white ass face, that pissed me off. I'm so sorry. I'm getting very irritated. I'm sorry. Stop putting that. I hated her character design so much. It looks so off. Like, all the other characters have features that are matching the design of these characters, and she just has like this pointed nose, small lips, like Eurocentric features on this character that's not based on. It just looks so off. Like,
Yeah.
she had straight hair. I was like, what is, she looks so weird, and I hated it. So yes, I'm very irritated because I'm like, you didn't have to create this character at all.
Right.
It could have been another character who was blessed with these powers from ancestors, but no, it has to be the human who has these powers. Also, Sully's the chosen one. Everybody's the chosen one except for the people who are actually native to this
Who've
island,
been there the whole
who've been
time.
here. Like, it blows my mind that the tree would even fathom this. Like, the tree, I think, is accepting that they've changed and that, you know, they can now live with us, but for the tree to then cancel out all the ancestral lineage for these people who are not even their species blows my mind. And it just seems so forced. Like, of course, the special little bispecials. Oh, come on. I'm sorry. Am I wrong in that? That really bothered me. I was just like, why? This is such a, oh, she's back in a clone in avatar form. Well, then she should have just survived in her avatar form.
Right.
What are we doing? What
Because,
are we doing?
like you said, with Palpatine's death, like, it meant something for the
Yes.
story. But that's kind of what happened with Grace's death too. Because honestly, sorry, the Na'vi people should have been destroyed in the first movie. You're telling me the people with arrows and with horses and all these stuff beat military grade weapons? They should have been dead.
I thought they
but
were bigger. And did they get military
they-
weapons at some point?
In the second movie, they did not have shit in the first movie.
I don't know.
But what ends up happening is, like, they were losing the battle because, like, yes, they are bigger, but they had like those machines that made the humans taller. Like, so they're like kind of, you know, what that one lady was in. And
yeah, the
she was like,
robot
yes. So they had
form.
different machines to help them, and they had high grade weapons. And so the avatars, no, the Na'vi people, see, that's what's fucked up too. Why is it called Avatar? It should really be called Na'vi.
Na'vi.
But the Na'vi people
again.
were losing the battle. And what happened is, before they had the battle, Jake Sully went to the ancestral tree and was like, hey, like, can you tap into Grace's memories or whatever, like, and help us out, because we just need your help, Awa. And what ends up happening is nature ends up coming and helping the battle, and that's why they're able to win. So
just Solid.
Yeah. So it's like kind of Grace maybe helped because she was into like animals and botany and like all this kind of stuff and like learning everything. So maybe like her spirit was something that helped with that journey of them winning.
Okay.
So it had a deeper meaning. But now like, oh, her avatar is like
She's back in
alive and now she had a baby and we adopted the child that basically acts exactly like her.
Has the same voice. She sounded like a grown woman.
The same
and she's like
interests,
12.
everything. Yeah. It was weird. Her whole character arc was strange. Like I didn't get that she was a weirdo until she was like laying in the grass and Spider comes up to her and is like, oh, was I doing that thing again? I was like, what thing are you talking about?
She just took a nap. I was like, what? And then when she was like floating in the water looking at the little holes in the sand.
Yeah.
Like, what a weirdo. I'm like, y'all have never like just like every time I go to the beach, I'm just like floating because I'm just looking
She's
at
the
stuff.
weirdo too.
Maybe. But yeah, the whole time she was acting normal to me.
Yeah.
She had like one moment where she was like floating in the water and they're like, you've been a weirdo. She's like, I've been a freak my whole life. I'm like, how have you been a freak your whole life? I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Unless she was like referring to the fact that she was an incubation baby.
Then yes.
Maybe. But I didn't get enough that she was a weirdo.
Yeah.
Like that's not weird to me.
And then she just happened to have some powers to like control nature. Is that what it is?
Yeah, she just connects and can control
but why
nature.
was she having a seizure at one point, but then
I think they're going to bring it back in the
next
next 3 movies.
Yeah,
I'm
they have a whole bunch of
assuming.
movies to explore this topic with. It's just like I feel like with this movie, they touched on a lot of different things, but didn't go deep enough into anything because I guess they want to explore everything in the next 4 movies.
God, it was so many storylines.
But it was weird. Like I feel like some of these characters got neglected. Like I barely got to really understand like the older son.
Didn't care about his death. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't tear up at all. The death that I was tearing up at was for those fucking
mom.
whales.
The whales was killing me.
I was like,
That
why
was
are y'all
it.
killing?
The oldest son, I was like, okay.
It was, yeah. But so I didn't really get to know him. We barely saw Nateri in this movie. We mostly spent time with the second eldest son, and then Kiri, and then the youngest daughter really didn't see her either until she was annoying and getting trapped several times. But I just feel like we didn't have enough time to really get to know any of these characters
No, after 3 hours.
which is crazy. So I feel like I understand why they would want to bring back a familiar villain in this movie, but I feel like the origin story of doing so was pretty weak, especially whenever we got to the point at the end where they almost killed off that character. So it was like, y'all brought this man back from the dead just to kill him again, but not actually because his son wanted to save him, but it's not really his son.
If he's in the next 3 movies, I'm not watching it.
He is.
I was really hoping for a smarter villain. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, from the first movie, he was pretty, I'm Colonel Man, I want to get money. Like, he's so caveman.
Right.
Like, it's such a boring villain. So I was really disappointed when he came back. And his son, the little white boy running around with the damn dreads. Why do you get that boy dreads? If you don't shave his head, oh my God. He was looking around looking like Tarzan. I was like,
That's basically who he was.
cannot stand that little kid. And then that's his son. I was like, oh, I don't care. I was really hoping for something more of the lines of, I'm cool if the humans come back, but I was really hoping for a different
But we didn't
villain.
even touch on why, like, we know the humans are back because Earth is dying, but that's it. They don't say anything else.
That's it. It's just like, we have to move Earth here now. I'm like, you didn't have to do all that. Humans can still be just greedy. It doesn't even have to be that Earth. I think that to me is a better point. Earth is fine. Humans are just bad. Humans want money. Like, I was cool with the vial, like that makes sense. There's enough of a motive for the humans to be here. Them adding that there's an apocalypse on Earth to me was just unnecessary. All you had to say is there's $80 million worth of vials here that extends human life.
Because that was basically the first movie.
Yes, that's enough. Like, there's just resources here, because it's not like if we're going to act like this is kind of in reference to when the English folk went to America and took over North America. They didn't leave. I mean, a lot of them originally, some fled religious persecution, blah, blah, blah. But like, they weren't leaving because England was just uninhabitable.
They just explored.
They were just they just wanted to expand and take everything and get money. Like, there was, to me, they didn't need that extra. It just seemed like they're like, oh yeah, now the Earth has to move here. Unless they bring that back into the later movies and really tie it in well, I don't think they needed that little extra like detail.
No.
I was really hoping that they would bring, like, let's say it's been a couple years, Earth had to recoup, readjust. Like, it makes sense that they'd come back some years later, because obviously it takes a minute to get there. I was just hoping that maybe they'd have another villain who has just maybe maybe they come first and they're trying to like, well, let's work with you. I don't know. Just,
Actually incorporate, yeah.
yeah, it's just a little bit of a smarter villain or somebody whose origin story I can get a little bit better. But the whole like just evil off the bat, I like when villains have a little bit more depth to them. Like maybe they don't arrive and they're immediately evil, but they're arriving and they're like, no, we need, I don't know. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a more thought out villain. I really didn't care much for the villain in the first one. He died. Let's let that die. He does not need to be revived, but just send someone else. There could be another person. Or maybe it's, the pirate white guys who are running around. Maybe they're the problem in the first movie. I don't know. It just felt like too forcey with the villain. I was disappointed.
Yeah.
I was really hoping they'd come up with something a little bit more that could carry through the next couple movies.
Right.
Him having a son is
And
not carrying me through this next couple
line
movies.
was weird because like we didn't really see them build a connection. Like kind of, there's glimpses, but I didn't get that Spider liked him at all. I didn't get that he really cared about him. And then whenever those moments happen where she's like, if you kill this one, then I'm gonna kill yours. And he was like, oh wait, don't do it.
That's my son.
kid.
Yeah, it was a little forcey.
And then Spider was like, oh shit, I gotta go save my dad. I'm like, why?
I didn't get that either. Spider, that's not your dad. Like, let's be honest. They didn't
That man
raise
is
you.
blue. You are not blue.
And he should have been dead. That man was underwater for like 10 minutes.
He should have been
He
gone.
started trying to breathe too late. I was like, no, he's dead.
He's dead. But that whole storyline was kind of forced to me. And maybe if we would have spent time with them a little bit more, but it's just like everything we saw was like a glimpse of what happened in the first movie. So we saw Jake Sully's character getting the little bird. I don't know what they are. What are they? Irax? I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
But those big birds that they ride in the sky. So we saw that happen in the first movie, and then we see Colonel doing it in this movie, and then we see them doing it with the water people. So we see the same thing happen twice in this movie when we already explored it in the first movie. Then we have the scientist in the first movie, not Grace Kelly.
Wrong.
Dr.
person.
Grace, she was like conflicted because like she wanted to learn a lot about Pandora and about the Na'vi people, but like she's funded by them getting their resources.
Yeah.
And she's like conflicted. We see the exact same thing happen with the scientists and the whales. He's like, man, they are really smart and I feel bad, but this is how I'm funding my research. I'm like,
$80 million.
we're doing the same thing in this
Yeah.
movie. So it's just like nothing was really new. Nothing was creative except for like, I think the water people were done really well. I like these water people better than I liked the Namor and those people in Wakanda Forever. I think they interacted with like the people, well, not the people, the animals in the ocean a little bit more in sync. But there was nothing new in this movie. It really was just a revamped version of the first movie. So if you didn't watch the first movie, you could come into this movie and you didn't miss shit.
Yeah.
Because they did the exact same thing and explored the same topics of like, oh, well, I want to be a scientist, but like my science is funded by greed, and the greed is hurting what I want to research. We already did this. And then white people coming in and doing stuff again. It's the same shit over and over again. But if you like that, and I didn't even mind it, so it didn't make me angry. Like Haley is obviously, she's upset, but I think it's like one of those, you plug in, you zen out, you get back out kind of things.
No.
I feel like I was in the Avatar.
No.
And I was going through the jungles
Absolutely the fuck not.
and then through the water. And then I came out and I was like, that was fun. That was refreshing. And I get to go home.
After 3 hours plus. I think I would have liked it a little bit better. I just feel like they're not setting it up to where I'd want to see the next movie. You have 4 more movies that are coming out. You have time. So I think I would have liked it if this one, I will say some positives. I thought it was gorgeous. I really did like the Water Tribe.
Me
people.
too.
I thought they looked great. I liked that. I liked us exploring more of Pandora.
Because I didn't even know that there was different tribes. Like
exactly.
that.
Like it was cool to
So that was
see that
cool.
they've expanded in the environment. So I really like that. I think it would have been really nice if this was just more of a movie about the 2 tribes and us exploring Pandora a bit more. I think if they had some tribe to tribe conflict versus having the humans come in again, like the humans can be kind of like an underlying tone. Maybe we get some scenes, some pictures of them kind of like getting ready to come back to
and
Pandora.
that's when we can talk about like maybe things aren't going well on Earth. Maybe they do need to find a new home. And they're like, well, shit, we went to Pandora. Maybe we can make that habitable. So we can see like what's going on in the background.
Like not that they've come back fully yet, but just like they're prepping you because then it would make more sense.
Because we have 4 movies. Why are they already here?
That's what I'm saying. And then I think it would be nice if you could see maybe they have some tribal conflict, but maybe this movie is kind of Pandora coming together a little bit more. Like let's,
or maybe it's them falling apart. Maybe they can't make that connection with the water tribe
Maybe.
yet.
Yeah.
And then whenever the sky people return, then they're like, shit, we have to do it.
Yes, something. I was
Yeah.
like, they should set up Pandora kind of separately. Like, let's see what's going on here. Let's see the culture, the different cultures. Let's see how they interact, the ins and outs, underlying humans. And then in the subsequent movies, it's make or break. Like they have to either
Yeah.
learn to band together or they have to learn how to figure it out. And then the humans come later. It just seemed like it was bam, 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 bam. If you're going to have 4 more movies, like if this was the last, they're only doing 2. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm like, just spread it out. I think I would have really enjoyed a movie where it just explores Pandora. We don't really need to see too much humans right now because they're coming. We know, but I get it. The humans have to come back, you know, and then maybe even they get, you know, Pandora gets a little bit of a heads up that the humans will be back or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Even if Dr. Grace is kind of with them in spirit, like I'm okay with them connecting and talking to ancestors.
I think
so
that
maybe,
was cool. Yeah.
like that's fine. But
Yeah.
her having a complete reincarnation as a
weird.
child with a grown woman voice is just odd to me. So I think the pacing was off. And I mean, I haven't seen the next movies. I don't know the plan, but from what I've seen, the pacing is off. I wish they stretched it. And honestly,
But that's
I
what's
think this could have
weird,
been
though.
a show. What?
that we were talking about, they could have stretched it and shown more. They had 3 hours to do so.
Yes, and I still feel like it was
And
like
they
rushed.
yes, which is weird because like when the humans came, it was like, oh shit, we see them coming from space, and then they were here and had trains built. I'm like, how did that shit happen?
They're like,
so
oh,
fast?
a year later. I'm like, we don't have to
Why did
Slow
we
down.
fast forward?
slow down because
Like,
I can't.
that
To your
doesn't
point, I
make
can't get connected.
No.
I feel like we could have connected to all the characters way more.
Yes.
and then when the characters do start dying,
Then I would be
actually
impacted.
care.
Yes.
because I'm like, I barely seen the older
Because
son.
honestly, I was confused. I was like, I thought this was the younger son for a second. Like they were so interchangeable to me. Like
Yep.
I didn't get to know them.
Yep.
The only reason why I knew Kiri was different from the younger sisters because she
She's
sounded
smallest.
different, and she's smaller.
She's tiny.
And it's just like we didn't get to build a relationship with Natiri and Jake and the whole Sully clan. We didn't get to really like reintegrate with the Navi people. We didn't get to really know the Water Tribe either.
No.
So it's just like we were kind of rushed into this, but then they spent like sorry, James Cameron. But then we spent like how long with that fucking whale and the middle child getting a friendship?
Gosh,
Like
just for
we
that
didn't need
to
it.
not go. Thank you. I was like, we didn't really need that because the whale came through to like help save him, but I think you didn't need that. It could have been any whale to come save them. Like the
Yeah.
whales could have been like, we were attacked
And we're fighting
we're
back.
helping.
Yeah.
Unless, like I said, they have some underlying story that's going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of like, oh, well, that whale's misunderstood. This kid's misunderstood.
Put 'em
Even though that
together.
kid is not misunderstood, that kid is a nuisance. That kid is a risk
He's a
to
menace.
security. Every time he did something he wasn't supposed to do, something horrible happened.
Every time.
They were captured. Somebody died. They were attacked, like ambushed. I literally, like at some point, I was like, I don't know if they're trying to make me feel for this kid because I don't.
It was annoying.
I don't. Like if he was the one who died, like it is what it is. They told him to stop. Like
How many times? Hey,
It's
can
not
you
even-
just stop going over there? He's like, sure. And then he gets pressured into doing something again, which
like,
has dire
okay.
consequences.
literally, like he could have died. Like I just don't understand. They were trying to make him like the
stupid.
misunderstood kid. I'm like, he's not misunderstood. He sucks.
Yeah.
Every time he just sucks. I don't feel for him. I don't care. I don't understand his character. Like I think they were trying to be like, oh no, he's really good. But like there was nothing redeeming except for the fact that he like helped his dad escape, but kind of didn't really because then his sister Kira came and like kind of got him all
We're
out.
gonna talk about how there was that it seemed like there was a rush to save her mom, her sister, and her father, but she's over here sitting down playing with the damn fish.
Yes.
I'm like,
girl, call the currents, get the waves going. And then she only brought one breath
why didn't she bring
butterfly.
another one?
Yeah, there was like those little underwater
plenty.
butterflies that could give you
Yeah.
oxygen. She got one for herself and then just transferred it to like the most needy person. I was
It
like,
was
girl, if you don't
terrible.
get all of them, I don't know. That was
It was so weird. It just
all they did
was
was
like
light the way. We didn't need lights. We
Yeah.
needed air.
we were, I don't know, it was like we were in a high stress situation, like, oh my god, are they gonna die? And then she's over here like,
She's over here floating. Yeah, you know what? You are weird. You are weird. Hurry
you're
up.
bad too. She's
Hurry
like, these
up.
aren't really my parents anyways. She said, I don't give a shit about them.
No.
I'm just trying to figure out my powers.
No, yeah, I just think it should have been fleshed out a lot more. I'm like, what else could they be shoving into each movie?
Yeah,
It
that's what
can't
I'm
be.
saying. Like they didn't spread it out enough for us to like
care
breathe
or to
and to get a
understand.
storyline. This whole storyline was really weak. It was just like basically a revamped version of Avatar that had some sprinklings of nostalgia from the first one. And that's really what this was. It didn't build onto any like grand story. I don't see where they're going at all.
Nope, I concur. And I might be being picky here. I'm not sure how old some of these kids are supposed to be.
Yeah.
If they do one more sexual shot of these like 12-year-old aliens, I'm going to.
It was weird.
I'm not trying, and I hate to be that person, but when Kitty, whatever, when she was laying in the grass, when they were kind of running around the forest, there was just the scene of her just stretched out. They're just like showing her chest. Like it was
Her
very
body,
odd
yeah.
to me, especially when I believe she's supposed to be like pubescent. Like unless she's like 17, she acts like a child. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming she's around like maybe 14.
Yeah. Like a
Maybe
preteen.
15. It just was like very uncomfortable. And then and it was just like the girl. So rude. And then when they went to the water tribe and
did the same thing to her
princess
too. Yeah.
girl came out, who's probably like 13, she comes out and they do this like, and I get it. I'm not saying this just because they're. I wonder if you can hear that.
I wonder.
Anyway, and I'm not just saying that because they're not wearing a lot of clothing, because some people might be like, oh, well, you're just over sexualizing them, because no,
it
it's
was
not
the
even that.
shots.
You could tell. They were like, she's coming out, she's like doing the thing, and they're just like looking at her, and I was just like, isn't she like the equivalent of like 12? I don't know, that just bothered me. Side note, because they didn't.
Is he getting murdered?
It's getting worse and worse. But anyway, so yeah, because it's not like they did that to any of the grown characters. I don't think they did that at all. There was no like grown adult character who got kind of that spotlight look. It was
Yeah.
just like the kids kept getting it.
it was
And I was
weird.
just like, I'm uncomfortable. Maybe I'm being overly picky here, but I just was
It
like,
was
what was
weird.
the need for that? Like, I get if like there's a cute girl that the guy likes, that's fine. You could do
Yeah.
a little shot. But to me, I was just like, I think the whole time I was like, how old are they? It's supposed to be like 12.
I know.
I was disturbed.
It was weird. But I guess, do we have any other like things we wanted to bring up?
Good. Do I let me ponder in my mind? Can we hit the villain?
With the villain,
The
with the
people.
storyline.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The lingo that they were like white boy frat. It was killing
Hey,
me.
cuz. Hey, bro.
They were like, they said cuz at one point, right? I was like, cuz?
How do they know what that is?
Why are they saying cuz, bro? I mean, I know you did clarify in the beginning of the movie. There is a transition between like
That's how they get
them?
away from us like hearing Navi the whole
the
time.
whole time. Yeah. I think Jake's character says, oh, Navi is like English to me now. So then from there on, they all speak English. You're assuming it's still Navi, but just for the practicality of
Not
being an
having
English-based
captions,
movie. Yeah. They kind of keep it in English. So I guess I was also just a little, not disappointed, but it just kept bothering me that they had all this like American slang going on. And I'm like, these are not American kids. I mean, maybe I'm supposed to just assume that in the translation, it's Navi slang. But I don't know. I just feel like they could have did a little bit more with kind of still basing it off of like indigenous cultures. I don't know how you would really do that, but it just felt like they were like, bro, come on, bro. I'm like,
Hey, that was sick.
yeah. And I think a lot of the actors were played by white people. And I think that showed in their character design and in their actions. So I still felt like they were just white. Like I was
Yeah.
like, I really liked Zoe Saldana's character because I feel like she has that like essence about her character. But the kids, I'm so sorry, except for the youngest one, I was not getting that they were Navi at all. They
Yeah.
just seemed like white faces with their like American white culture. I wasn't getting Navi culture.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being too picky here. I know I get tore up a lot just in my personal life. I don't think anybody on the internet really does. But I was just like, I'm not getting what I feel like a Navi experience. I feel like they're like, yeah, Navi. Anyway, bro,
Yeah.
come on, bro. What are you doing? Come over here, bitch. Like, I was just like, oh.
He said that's called a punch, bitch.
I was just like, okay. Like, it just wasn't, I don't know. It was getting
It
a little
was-
comical. Like, I just couldn't take them
was.
seriously because I was like, I'm pretty sure these are white actors, white voices, white slang. I'm like, I'm not getting this indigenous vibe that they're trying to base these characters off of. I don't know what that would necessarily look like. Also, their accents were killing me. Sometimes the kids had like a Navi accent. Sometimes they didn't. I was just like,
It was not great.
I wasn't getting the kids' characters. They were annoying. Couldn't vibe with them because I wasn't really getting that they were really Navi
Yeah.
people. Like, I feel like in the first movie, they were a lot more Navi. Like, you could tell they're more
different,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're different. But this one, and I guess like Jake's their dad, so maybe that, but not enough. There's only one Jake, and the rest of the tribe is not at all from Earth. So that bothered me. And I think that kind of went into like me not really caring for the characters because then the boy kept doing stuff like, and then the little Tarzan kid, like they were more just nuisances, kind of
I
distracting.
feel like this is kind of like a birth control movie. It's like This is why you don't want to have more than one child. Because imagine if you're in a hostage situation and they like capture your kids. Like they had 2 of them
They kept getting
locked up and then they got free and then 2 more came up and got locked up. I'm like, bro, this is why you can't have so many.
That was a long ass scene.
It
I was like, are
too
we
many.
done?
I was like, they're locked up again.
Are we done now? Oh, just kill them all.
Just swim away or something.
Literally. Anyway, so
But, yeah.
I think I'm sorry if I'm being too picky. I guess I just was
You were expecting
disappointed
more.
because I was really excited for an experience that I just don't think that I got. But you know,
But I guess we'll get into ratings. Haley, what did you rate this movie?
I give this a 2 out of 5. And
okay, below average.
What's carrying it is I still think it was visually stunning. So I'm not going to take that away from the movie. I won't say it's a bad film. I just think for what I think that should have been done.
Yeah.
It was a 2. But visually stunning. Yeah. Zoe Saldana was carrying. I really wanted to see more of like
her and the other mom. Yeah.
tribal queen, because they were like kind of at odds, but then at the end, like they seemed like they were kind of similar.
Now that you're bringing her up, not her going to war pregnant.
Oh no, they don't play that. She said
I'm gonna be there too. I'm like, girl, you and your baby about to die. Don't be doing this.
Said, not me. She said, I don't play that anyway. But no, I wish I saw more. I don't know.
I did.
More
We
of the
barely
Na'vi
even saw
people.
her too.
Oh, I thought they were such cool characters. Like I really like Zoe Saldana's character. What's her name?
Natiri.
Natiri's character. I love her. And then she was just not really in it.
No. And then like we built up that other mom to be kind of like important too. They're like, oh, it's not the guy that we need to ask, it's really her. And then like she was barely there. And I'm like, so what's the point of y'all even talking about these other people when we barely get to see them?
Yeah, it was a little. Yeah, maybe they'll show them more in the next couple movies.
I hope
but
so.
I really wanted to see more of all of that. So I think that's what the pacing issues. But yeah, 2 out of 5. Wouldn't see it again. I wouldn't say I would not recommend it because I think it's just one of those films that is cool to see, but way too long for the content given. So
I gave it a 3. I gave it the same rating that I gave the original Avatar. I think it's just one of those like fantasy worlds that if you enjoy being in, then you'll like this movie. I think it didn't do anything different. I like our idea better of like how he could have planned out these movies, but to me, I actually didn't mind it. I enjoyed being in 3D for the first time in like years. And I just feel like I was able to, maybe it's because I also got hit by a car. I've been stressed. You know how many times I had to answer questions about my damn accident? So it was just nice to be able to just, for 3 hours. That's all I did. For 3 hours. And it was
space
great.
out.
I got
just
to
like
blank
Katie.
out. Yeah, I'm a weirdo. So I think that I would recommend this to somebody who liked Avatar and who likes the world. I think that you probably will enjoy this movie. Don't expect anything new. That's really it.
I guess, yeah.
Well, if you like things that are basically the same every single time, then you'll love our Instagram at Haley and Kaylee.
You'll love us.
Also, you'll love us. We also have a TikTok at Press Podcast where you can see some more content. And we also have a website at presspodcast.com where you can check out things there. What else do we have?
We have a YouTube channel. If you're watching us now, of course, you know that, at Haley and Kaylee. We also have an email at presspodcast@gmail.com where you can tell us all the films you want us to see, your thoughts, concerns, all that great stuff.
Yeah, you can tell us how you thought or what you thought about this movie down below in the comments. I'm excited to see.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Be honest. Wasn't that good? Let's not do that.
It wasn't that good, but it also wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that good at all. I was so bored. I think about an hour and a half on the way. I said, God,
I
how
know.
long do we have to go?
That
Also,
was
we got
one
an
thing.
hour and a half.
Because I was like, man, I kind of have to pee. I was like, what time is it? I was like, ooh, we got a whole other hour and a half to go. I was like, I gotta
Go
go.
nowhere. No, I said absolutely not. This is ridiculous. I had to eat nasty food from the Cinemark because
We went at like dinner time.
dinner time, and I was gonna be there for 3 hours. So I was like, I have to eat this nasty food, and I ate it. And I
She
was
tore
still
it up,
hungry.
though,
I
bro.
did. I was tearing that shit up. But that's how long we were there. I had to eat dinner
We're
in there
there,
because
yeah.
we went in at 6, got out at like 9:30. I'm sorry, I'm done.
I wonder if people who like are diehard fans for Avatar would actually not like this movie.
Who's a diehard fan of Avatar?
That's the thing, though. I don't know anybody
13
who like
years
loves
ago.
it.
Please
Right.
grow up.
I didn't know any, but I feel like maybe if you haven't seen the movie in a while and you come back to this one, it's like, oh yeah, I like these people.
I don't know. I mean, I think the first one was great. I don't know if anybody was a super fan. That's why it's not like a series like Harry Potter that you can
Right.
argue is good or bad. Like people, you just have diehard fans or like Star Wars or whatever. It's just a one movie thing from 13 years ago. Half the people watching Avatar 2 probably didn't even see Avatar 1. It's been 13 years.
That's true.
like the kid, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. But yeah, I just feel like there wasn't that much hype around this one. Like I told people I watched it and they were like, oh, it's out? And I'm like, yeah. But I also think that's like a streaming problem now.
Yes.
And the fact that no one watches commercials anymore. Because
No.
that's how I used to know movies were coming out. I used to see them on commercials when I was watching cable. But now I just have to see an ad, maybe.
Yeah, I saw a few commercials for it because Tristan's been watching football. Ugh. Terrible. So it came on quite a few times. I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna see it. But I don't know. This movie was just a meh experience, but I don't think it's that different from the first one, which is why I gave it the same score. But again, I'm traumatized, so maybe I'm not the best one to go to.
Yeah, and you know
maybe
me,
listen to Haley.
I don't know. I also pick everything apart. I'm told I'm negative.
I'm so tired of people being like, you're just so hard to please when it comes to movies. I'm like, not really. I don't think so.
There's been a decent amount that we liked.
I think so.
And I have less sympathy. When you have unlimited resources, money, and time, and access to the best writers, the best everything, I am going to judge you a lot harsher than if it's like an independent film or somebody who doesn't have the same resources.
True.
To me, there's no excuse. That's why I am hard, because I expect more and I'm disappointed, in my opinion. So I think it's not me trying to nitpick. It's just like, this stood out to me. Why? Maybe there's reasons for why they didn't do certain things, but I'm going to hold you to a higher standard. This is not a Rudy Poot student film. It is what it is. This is Disney.
True.
Come on. But Disney. You know what? Maybe they're just in the business of making a pretty movie.
I think that's a lot of what Disney does.
That is just what it is they knew that what carried it is the visuals and that they didn't really want to put a lot of time to the story. Then I accept if that is what they were doing. I think
that is what they were doing.
We'll say that. And if that's the case and it is what it is, it made for a so-so movie. It was gorgeous. I'll say that. So shout out to the, special effects team. But yeah, that's all I got. So.
Well, we don't know what we're going to talk about next time, but it'll be the new year.
Maybe that Grinch movie.
Speaking of independent films.
Speaking of low expectations.
Right. But I'm excited for the new year because that means new movies and new possibilities for us to be disappointed. But other than that, stay safe, guys. It's crazy out in these streets. I didn't think I would ever be hit by a car.
Can we put it? Okay, we need some security footage. It's like a corner camera. Your
I
ass
hope
blown.
not, bro. Because imagine, I know, like, I'm already like a dramatic faller. Like, anytime I fall, like, I fall with my whole body.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know it looked probably way worse than what it really was, but I
paid big money for that. Because you're okay.
I am okay. Thank God. I just remember, like, I was like, hey. And then boom, I was on the ground and I look up and there's like headlights coming because there was still like a street. And I was like, bitch, I gotta go or I'm going to get hit again. And I remember getting to like the side of the road.
Sorry, that's horrifying.
It was scary. And this lady, I just remember her being like, are you okay? And I don't think I answered. I think I was just crying.
Girl, do I look okay?
Bitch, I got hit. You better go to IJustGotHit.com. Okay. But yes, Happy New Year if we don't see you until the next year.
But no, we do need to get global warming and yeah, that's a whole nother.
I hate talking about it because it makes me so sad.
Makes me so upset. I looked up stuff because I was like, I feel like people are being dramatic. That's fake. And then I look it up and I'm like,
we're dying.
It's not fake
We're
at
on
all.
a dying
Look at all these
planet.
articles.